Okay, so just a quick little tutorial on how to clean your projects and your yarn if something gets spilled on them, heaven forbid. So I have, let's start with this. So I have this wool fingering weight. Since it's wool, it needs to be washed very carefully. It was in a ball, but I wrapped it around something, added some little ties. With this, I put my ends together, but otherwise, like over here, I split it into two to try to help keep it from getting tangled. So that I just have some cool water with some delicate soap in it. So that I'm just gonna dip, very gentle scrunching. Some of the dye is coming out. That's fun. That's all right. That means it won't be getting on my hands. Very gently wring it. And then I'm gonna rinse this with cool water. And I'll show you how I roll up to get some of the water out, and then I'm just going to hang this to dry. But to make it into like this, you can just wrap it around anything you've got. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I've got an old towel here, and I'm just going to roll this up because that helps get a lot of the moisture out. Just kind of squeeze. Get what you can out. And then all I've got to do with this now is hang it up to dry. You want to use cool water, and you don't want to use really rough. You don't want to agitate it too much because hot water will make it shrink, but also both hot water and a lot of agitation will make it felt. So I'm just going to go and hang this up. And now the other things that got stuff on them, because I only had a little project like just started, so I didn't even bother saving it. I just undid it real quick with the wool yarn. But with this is a pretty significant amount of progress that I'd really rather not have to throw away or start over or nothing. So, working on a sweater. And here, the sleeves, where I separated for the sleeves, it's just got some acrylic through it, tied off. That's fine. Now for the body, the stitch markers, I just have these two little ones where they're placed. I'm gonna leave them. They should be fine. Hello, Cupcake. She came to help. Now for the body, if you just have normal circular needles, use just a yarn needle and go through. I have Knitter's Pride interchangeable needles. So this is what that little peg is for, in the little holes. I didn't know that for a long time. I just struggled. So the needles I'm going to wash very gently and dry really thoroughly. But they come with these little caps. So I'm just going to put those on the end. Thank you for your help, Cupcake. I want them really, really, really secure. So, as secure as we can get them. Sorry. And then, no, don't eat it. Do the same for this one. And I'm going to be washing my project and my yarn separately. It's not ideal, but it's still way better than having to start over or anything like that. real tight on that. So now that can be set aside. What I'm actually gonna do, so this is where my project and, oops, sorry. This is where they connect. I'm just gonna snip that for now. And I'm gonna very loose and obvious weave this in. It's not gonna be super visible between the cat wanting affection and this is black. But I'm just doing like a real kind of quick and dirty, just down. Remind myself that this isn't about being pretty. And that's good. Because otherwise, that end, it could come undone, and it just, we don't want that. So this, I think I'm going to put it in a pillowcase. And then just wash it on delicate using the gentle soap I have, which I'll grab that. This is what I use. It's the Woolite Delicates. It works well with wool, I found, but also just a lot of hand wash things. So this I'm going to put into a pillowcase. This one, we don't want this bad boy moving around a whole bunch, because the more space your yarn has, the more space it has to tangle. So I have just a leg from some old tights. And we are just gonna put it in here. And I'm just gonna wash it the same as I'm washing the project itself. I'm gonna wash it, dry it, all that. If I can get it. Goodness. It's not the prettiest thing, but as long as it's functional. And actually this end is excessively long, so I'm going to take some of that and tie this so that hopefully I can reuse this if the need should arise. I have a couple of ends in here. So these, I'm just, because I want to weave them in nicely, I'm just going to tie them up here. So even if those stitches do get loose, I can adjust them, and I can still weave those ends in. So I will be back later to show you guys how this went. Okay, so it's been a few hours. This is the wool. It's still a little bit damp. I haven't really had the chance to move it around, but I think it'll be dry by tomorrow, and I mean, it's still nice. This is Neighborhood Fiber Company yarn, so there is some variation skein to skein anyways. So like that little bit of dye coming out, I'm not too worried about. So that I'm going to hang back up. The black, I ran this through the washer and dryer in the tights. There were some parts that were still a little bit damp, so I did wind it into a hank, and I'm going to hang this up as well, but it feels totally fine. You know, it doesn't have any suspicious smells. So that will be getting hung up as well. And then the sweater. So the ends that were loose did get a little frayed, but that's okay. Those are going to get woven anyways. Around the sleeves, it looks just fine. as well as around the body. I did take my yarn needle and just gently undid the strand that we wove in. Pardon my daughter in the background. So I undid this because it was woven in. So now I can just take these off. Now obviously you don't want to be washing your knitting needle cords on the regular. But this once in a while emergency type of situation is all right. Now let me see. Okay. So get that on there. And the first round might be a little tricky just because, especially with the sleeves, I would think, just because it might have not exactly felted, but like kind of, like the smaller fibers would have tangled a little bit. But, you know, overall this is clean. I'm probably just going to pick up one of the other skeins because I picked up a lot of skeins of the same color, dye lot, and everything for this sweater. I'll probably just pick up one of the others, so it'll actually, partially out of impatience because that other one isn't dry yet, but also it has the added benefit of it'll kind of help to blend the colors together a little bit. But because it's the same dye lot, it's not, it might look a little bit different when I knit it all together, but after the fact, you know, after I finish knitting it, I'm going to wash it and everything, it'll be just fine. You know, it's got a few fibers. I did, so that towel that I rolled up the wool in, I did run that through the washer and dryer as well, just so that it would have that extra thing to kind of hit against and soak up some of the moisture, especially in the dryer. So, yeah, I'm just gonna continue where I left off with a fresh skein and no more coffee. Thank you for joining me on this. I promise I'm going to be doing that yarn winding tutorial soon. We'll get there when we get there. But if you would like to see more, please subscribe. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't, then dislike it. Comment down below if you have any ways that you usually how you deal with stuff like this happening. You know, if you have any tips or tricks you want to share. Yeah, I'll see you next time, and God bless.